Situation with my daughter was so scary that I needed to understand the psychology behind like the why. The child therapist, I have my therapist. I didn't want to have to rely on that. I wanted to really get into why was she feeling that way? How could I help? I really wanted all the knowledge. And from this, I wasn't even sure what I was going to do with the information. I was just literally being led, and I felt like it was a higher calling of saying like, this is a space that you need to get into. And there's so many other people that are living your story.
I know you have a very big professional job. You work for USA Today. You've got kids. How did you find Jai?
Okay. So, and this is like the realest conversation. Oh my gosh, is that tears coming? And we are like just getting started. Okay, so together. So I was juggling so much, right? Like I said, mom, husband, mom, wife, professionally, Zumba. It was like but I thought I was crushing it. And then my daughter, I just happened to like look into her phone and I saw some really disturbing text messages. And it really kind of threw me for a loop. I didn't.
How old is she?
At the time, she was 10.
Okay.
And I was just, and I was really confused. I was like all the emotions, but really just confused because I thought we had this bond and everything was good. And like, she's my girl, I'm her girl, like we're friends. And like, and then to know that she was going through all of this. And so we had a talk and she was just saying like, yeah, like I was going through all of this, but because you always was like, you're strong and like the labels, right? Like I didn't create this safe space for her to really vet about what was going on and how hard fifth grade really is and like the mean girls and the whatever. And like, she felt like she had to put on this armor for me because I put her in this box. And then I started like really hearing that same story over and over again, just like different characters, same setup of people around me. And it's just like how we were raised of like, I had to walk 15 miles to school.
Be strong, be tough.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not okay, And so I was like, there has to be a better way. And like, obviously things didn't even get better even after that conversation. Like she had this release, but she still was very much feeling misunderstood, and she got to the point that like, and I knew what I wanted, but I didn't know how to get there. And so at one point she was even like, she was open to like moving in with her dad, and he lives in California. And it was just like, and then like, what do you mean you don't want to live with me? Am I really that toxic, So I knew something had to happen fast. And then like my biggest like fear was like for me and her to have the relationship that I have with my mom. And she's trying and I'm trying, but like it is very topical. Like we see each other during the holidays and we talk when we make time. And that's not what I want, for my nuclear family. And so I came across like your post online and I was like, wait, there's a different way, and then I started talking about it. Like before I even signed up for the course, I just started. And then it was like the whole thing of just like the urban community of just like, no, we don't do that. Like they do that. We don't do that, and then like, and I'm like, no. Like, I think guys, I think we're like doing this wrong, like beating the kids and like speak when spoken to and seen and not heard kind of mindset. Like that's not working. Like these kids are protesting, like this Gen Z generation, like
I'm not messing around.
They are not playing. They are game changers. They are cycle breakers. Like they are going to therapy, putting in the work, and they are putting us in our place if we are like not on our shit, And like, so yeah, like, and then so I didn't really even realize how off I was, but I noticed the more gracious I was being to them, right? And like listening to them, it was the more open I was being to myself. And I had more patience with everyone around me for work, like patience with my husband. Like it started to spill over in all avenues of my life. And so, immediately they noticed like I wasn't yelling as much. And I was never the type to like beat the kids.
Yeah.
But they started seeing the shift of me just like, like understanding why, like in seeing behavior as a window. And like, okay, well, they got in trouble or they're not like, they didn't do their homework. It's not like you're punished, She's like, well, what's going on?
Right.
You said
you're irresponsible. You're all the things.
right. Right. And so when I tell you, like, I honestly, I cannot even remember the last time I yelled. And it's like this, the one-on-one time of just talking to each of them and making sure they have their individual time with me. And they're not even fighting with each other.
What do you attribute that to? Like, what were there specific tools? Were there strategies? What was the breakthrough for you that allowed this shift to happen so much that your kids noticed?
I had a situation last week where my 6-year-old was like having a moment in the store, and like there were some women in there looking like, get him together or I will, and I'm like, I got this. And to me, those are the wins where I'm like, I got this, and like I'm not caring as much about like the judgment from other people who don't understand, Anyway, to get back on track. So I was that parent that like when I would walk into like my son's room and he was like on the game, he like before I even say anything, he's like, hang up, because he doesn't know what's liable to, we don't know what's liable to come out of my mouth. And he would like mute it really quickly. And then my daughter, same thing. Like if she's on FaceTime and I would walk in and she would just like, no, bye, no, like she would hang up and I was like, wow. Like, and that's how I knew I had a problem. But I knew they started to see the change when I would come in and nothing. Hi, Mom, is everything good? Or like, I like accidentally spilled the butter. I was making eggs this weekend and I spilled the butter and my 6-year-old came and I was just, and he's a perfectionist. And my audience knows him well. Like all of my examples just seem to come through him. And so I was like, hey, Xander, you're not going to believe this. And I was like, I was making eggs and my elbow hit the butter and look, it's like all over the floor. And I have to show him that I'm like a real person and I make mistakes so he knows it's okay. And he came in and he was like, oh, I'm sorry that happened. And he grabbed a paper towel and he like, this is a team effort. And he just starts cleaning it up. Like if I'm exercising and he sees me sweating and he's like, I'm struggling to do those like last 5 sit-ups, he'll come next to me and he'll just like finish it off with me. Like that type of synergy, that connection is like.
It's really, we talk about this a lot. It's the micro moments. It's like those moments where that the you of the past would have reacted, would have yelled, would have gotten a certain expected response from your children. And you're in these like, right, like, yeah, cooking eggs or walking into your kid's room and it's subtle and it's quiet and it's so transformed. And so it's like the big stuff lives in those micro moments. I love that so much.
Right. And so even like just noticing myself and like, okay, I know every day during the dinner rush, I get like these heart palpitations and like anxiety and just like, if you know that's going to happen, like, let's get in front of it. Let's create like over there. There's literally a menu, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like a dinner menu of what to cook. I have like the spa music going. And I'm prepping in advance. There's no, oh my gosh, the kids are cranky. Like get in front of it, I had this crazy moment last week. My son, he broke his, it wasn't last week, it was a couple weeks ago. He broke his pinky, but where it broke, they ended up putting a full cast on him. And so all the kids, by the way, just like they do well in school, they get good grades. And so the teacher called behavioral issues. And that's not phone calls that I get. Not saying that it's, but like he's not, paying attention in class. She's like, I took his desk. And at one point she was like, she turned it like and faced it against the wall. And so, and at one point she's like, Tasha, are you listening? And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to let you finish. And so she's like, and he spilled this water and this, that, and the other. And I was like, I just want to focus on, because I know that he doesn't usually have these type of this type of behavior. And so I'm just trying to figure out what has been going on in the last 2 weeks that has not been an issue before. I know it's the cast. I just want her to come to that conclusion, right? And so I'm like, so she's like, well, I know that, it's been different since he had the cast. And I'm like, well, he's wearing the cast on his right hand. He's right-handed, like maybe he's not engaging enough. Could it be that at a time where he needed you to kind of lean in and say, hey, I know you can't write, but, maybe, I don't know, maybe he could use his laptop for a week or whatever. So he could be engaged in the class, maybe at a time where he needed you to lean in, you pushed him away and like now he's reacting.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's like, I never thought about it that way. Like, and I'm really sorry, and I was like, yeah, like and I'm not saying you're wrong. And, and I just kept saying, we're on the same team.
Yeah. Oh,
so
good.
Like, I'm not even attacking you. I told her that, like, we're on the same team. Let's figure out the why. Let's focus on the what and more focus on the why. And, and we'll get this done. And I was like, and when he comes home, I'm going to talk to him, and so, but she had this aha moment of like, and I'm just like, I just wish even the Jai mindset would be more.
We're on it.
Oh, good. Right.
Plans in the works, Tasha. Like every teacher on the planet needs Jai. What was it like for you going through the course? So you recently graduated from our 7-month parent coach certification program. Well, let me ask this first. Why'd you decide to become a coach instead of just being coached?
The situation with my daughter was so scary for me that I needed to understand the psychology behind like the why. I didn't want to have to, and child therapist, I have my therapist, and we did all the things, but I didn't want to have to rely on that. I wanted to really get into why was she feeling that way? How could I help? I really wanted all the knowledge. And from this, I wasn't even sure what I was going to do with the information. I was just literally being led. And I felt like it was a higher calling of saying, like, this is a space that you need to get into. And there's so many other people that are living your story.
Mm-hmm.
And I've like soaked it up like a sponge. I'm like looking at, I have all my notes here. I have like a paper. This is my playtime paper. I keep a chart now to make sure that I am getting one-on-one time with each child every day. And even if it's just 15 minutes, being so intentional about my parenting now. And it's really been such a game changer.
So talk me through kind of your journey. Were there some points along the way where you had some big epiphanies, or was it more gradual?
I have like epiphanies all the time. Like yesterday, for instance, my youngest, he was at school and I don't know what snack my husband packed yesterday or 2 days ago, but it was the snack. Like, I don't know what it was, like a donut maybe. I don't know what it was.
Sugar bomb.
Whatever it was, it probably shouldn't have been a snack. And one of his classmates wanted his snack. And so remind you, he's 6 and he's like, he wanted, I forget the little boy's name. And he's like, he wanted the snack. And I really didn't want to give it to him because I was so excited that daddy like packed this snack for me and I wanted it. And he was like so adamant at telling me like, he's my friend. And I was like, so what happened? And he's like, he just kept saying like, I didn't want to give it to him, but he's my friend. And so he was like, out of nowhere, a second grader came up and she was just like, we're not supposed to share. And he was like, I was so happy that she did. He was like, because if she didn't come up, like, I wouldn't know what to do. And then I'm like, oh, you have not created an environment where he feels safe to say no. And not that he could, I just never said it. Like, we can say no in this house. We just never had that situation arise where I could say, yes or no. It was like this huge aha moment of like, even in like places of safety, like he has to feel comfortable saying no. If you're touching your, like he can say no. Absolutely, he can say no. I was just like, I've never verbally given him the permission to do so. And so literally we spent the last 2 days of him like holding a dinosaur needs, and him practicing his no's. No, thank you. Please respect my no. No, thank you. Please respect. So then, every day he comes home like yesterday, and then he did, did he ask for the food? Yes. And did you give it to him? He's like, no, I said no, thank you. And he's like, I went into this whole explanation as to why. And like, so he's not there yet where it's like a hard no.
He's 6. It's huge. It's so good. It's so good. How have so obviously the first 12 weeks of our program, you go through the parenting curriculum, but then in the second 3 months, you learn coaching skills. How has that impacted you, your work, your family, specifically in terms of gaining this professional skill set of coaching beyond the parenting curriculum?
Wow. So honestly, I thought the second half was just going to be like a review of the first half. And when you throw a real life client in the mix with real life situations, like going through the 5D process. And by the way, I love that you guys make it so easy to remember with the 5D and like the acronyms. We have like literally every week, we have these moments of just like these eye-opening moments of, and even though sometimes I can see it to connect the dots, but the thing is asking the right questions so they could come up with, their own conclusion as to what is the why behind it. Yeah. And we have had such eye-opening moments. I know I can't say a lot because it's her information, but even in like the approach of me, like in the very beginning, and she would just say like, it's okay. You can say it. You don't have to tiptoe around it. It's almost like she was so used to hearing
what to do, or
right. Like she was almost like, yell at me. Like that's the only reason with that. And now it's not, it's, she's softer, if that makes any sense. And like we talk and the pauses in between, those pauses are everything. And she's thinking, and it's not this like, like.
I think that's a big misconception that people have, that as parent coaches, it's our job to give advice or to answer questions or, give, helpful suggestions and know the answer to everything. And that's actually quite the opposite. What you're saying is exactly right. That as a coach, it's our job to hold space and ask the questions that allow another person to create that for themselves, because that's how we empower people. Otherwise, it's just another kind of codependent relationship where they need us every time something goes wrong. Whereas what we want to do is build parents up so that when things go wrong now or in the future, they have the tools, the confidence, the inner authority of their values to be like, oh, I remember that commitment I made to Tasha that I was going to, go regulate myself before having a hard conversation. I'm going to go do that. And it doesn't create that entanglement. That's why these are skills.
I remember my very first session with Rebecca, and I literally like unmuted and I was like, you and I are polar opposites. And she's like, what do you mean? And because she was so like soothing and like, I was like, I am the opposite of yoga. Like, I don't want the candles. I don't want the like, I want.
Everybody's like, we're all going to be here together. She's so good.
She's like, okay, I have noted it. And like,
love her so much.
I love her. Oh my God, she's amazing. And now I'm very much the same way. Like, let's just breathe. Let's just calm down. Okay, what's going on? Like it's so good. But so even with my client, you add in the layer of just like thinking differently, and you add in the layer of like, yes, but I'm raising Black children in America. And it's such a necessary conversation of like us feeling like we have to be even harder on the kids, because when they go out there, the world is not nice to them. And so I feel like that this argument alone or perspective alone has been me just saying our kids need a safe space, guys, please. They are not getting hugged out there, and you know it. And that is why when they come home or before they leave out the house, like if they can't be safe with us and express themselves with us, like when can they do it? You know, I'm getting chills and like
Right. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just so hard, you know, and it's all, well, I did this and I survived and I turned out fine. And like, okay. And maybe you did turn out fine, but what if that's not good enough for them?
Maybe we get to raise the bar on fine.
Right.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Hmm. So how do you see yourself divesting of this work once you graduate? What you got in store for us, Tasha?
It's so rewarding. Like I never once, by the way, did I look at it as a situation where I could like, how can I make the most money? It was never about that. When I went through that with my daughter, and everyone was like, oh, like that's just how moms and daughters are. Like they're gonna hate you and you're just gonna have to. And I was like, no, not in my
I know
house.
you're like, no, I will give my left arm to not have
Right.
that be the case.
Right. Literally, I was like, that is not going to be the reality in my house. Like, we have to even shift the narrative of like, that's just how it is. She's a girl. You guys are going to butt heads. Just deal with it. Like, no. And so like every day it is like me just like knocking down like stereotypes that people have, and like we've got to do better, you know. And I this is not like me putting out judgment. I feel like we are on the right track. I feel like if as more parents and like you said, like even talk to teachers and neighbors and Zumba friends,
Like
you know,
Zumba for half an hour and then parent coaching for half an
that's,
hour. And then we'll Zumba some more to shake it all off.
but I feel like the message is, as long as we just keep talking about it and being supportive, and you know, I someone just said to me recently on a post and they're like, it's too late, like my kids are grown and I just wish I had these tools when they were younger. And I'm like, it is never too
Yeah.
late.
These are kids. And, from my perspective, when I hear people say that, just want them to have the patience to allow that to be true. You know,
Like
every child wants a relationship with their parents.
what I would do for my mom to call to say, why aren't you spending Thanksgiving here with me? And I'm about to be 40 years old. Like it's never too late. Just because our children turn 18, like we don't get relieved of our duties of caring, you know? Like,
No. And I mean, my own kids are 17 and 18 now. And my experience is that they need me far less. And when they do need me, they need me far more. When there is a situation, a circumstance, an experience that they're having where they reach out to mom, it is full contact parenting. It is full presence parenting. Phones off, to the side. And that kind of parenting responsibility, I mean, just the stakes are so much higher when there's keys and, mature relationships starting to happen, and, lots substances, right? Like so many things where, if there's any opportunity at any point to reconnect that relationship between parent and child, children always will come around. It may take time, but they will always come around.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Tasha, you're amazing. I can't wait to see you share your Instagram handle with everyone so they can follow you. Tasha's videos are amazing, you guys. We're going to be posting some of them on the Jai Instagram. And I'm just really happy you're a member of this community.
Oh, thank you so much. It's it's Tasha, TASHA _ Hosang, HOSANG. Thank you for allowing me into your space. And this has just been It's been an amazing journey. I am in awe. And so thank you. Thank you
That's
so
how we
much.
want you to be. Yeah, mission accomplished.